right, we are back on the morning show. I just want everybody to know that you could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with us. And I want you to know how much that means to me. I appreciate you. And by the way, kudos to you because there's a hell of a lot worse places than you could be than here with us. I am JC Parets. I am live from beautiful Avalon, New Jersey. We are joined by my man, Steve Strazza, Chief Market Strategist at All Star Charts, live from Key West, Florida. We got Chartmaster Flex, Alfonso in the house. We got Izzy on the ones and twos. We got Justin Spittler of RiskHedge coming in here talking about markets. We are almost done with the second quarter, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. And retail ain't buying this. ETF flows are coming out. Nobody is believing that this rally has legs, but we are. So we got a great show for you today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get ready, call your neighbors, tell them to come in the morning show. Hit it, Izzy. Let's go. Oh, we are back on the morning show. So this is the last show. This is the last show that we're having without Spencer Israel. Spencer Israel has been back at the office, not on the morning show. Spencer Israel back on the morning show this Monday. This is our last show of the week. Little public service announcement. Last show of the week. We got a holiday tomorrow. Where I grew up, Steve Strazza, we did not have days off in June. No. That was like a May thing. It was a July thing, not a June thing. Now we have holidays in June. How do you feel about that?
Every single year, somebody says to me, the market's closed on Thursday. I say, no, it's not. I say, oh, God, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right. Forget every year. I'm going on a boat.
Not global markets. This is just an American thing. The rest of the world doesn't give a shit about your Juneteenth. Like, doesn't care at all. So the rest of the world will be open. Crypto markets will be open. Futures open. Everything's open except U.S. stocks. The rest of the world doesn't care.
I'm going on a boat.
You're going on a boat?
Yeah. First time since last year. Since we had a very frightening experience out on the water last year. Yeah, first time back out on the water.
Christo says we're tight on the leave for poor Spencer. Spencer wants to come back.
I never thought I would miss him this much. I'm ready.
I didn't think I'd miss him this much either. I told him the other day. I was like, "We miss you, Spencer. We miss you." Perlman was like, we could use some help. We could use some help around here. Strazza keeps telling me, "Where is Spencer? When is Spencer coming back?"
I have. I've said that a couple times. Yeah.
Steve Strazza, bless his heart, sends me a text message last night. Says, "JC, I got some intel from my wine guy." I'm like, "All right, here we go."
Yeah.
Steve Strazza has the audacity to tell me that Paso Robles is better than Sonoma.
Ooh. I was passing on
news, very fake news.
I was just passing on something that I heard, and the wine man that I was speaking with seemed very scholarly about his wine knowledge. So I thought it was interesting.
Listen, you want to know about wine? You know who to come to, right? Don't I tell it like it is?
I do think Paso Robles does make some fine red wine. It goes great with steak.
They're fruit bombs.
Really?
They're fruit bombs. So for me, I don't like the Paso wines with steaks because it overpowers it. It gets real hot down there. You're going to get all this overripe Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's going to be soup. It's too much. You got to get that acid to balance that fat from the steak. And you're just not getting that in Paso Robles. You got to go to Bordeaux for that. Maybe some places in Sonoma and Napa, but you're not getting that in Paso. And I say that with all the love in the world for Paso. Right before we started the show, I was telling Strazza how much I love going there, how great it is. You got the Hearst Castle. They do port.
I want to go.
They do like dessert wines with Zinfandel, which are delicious. So,
yeah, it works for me. I told you I listed you as my reference for something.
Yes, I heard. So I shouldn't talk shit about you when they call me.
No, I was going to actually say the opposite. You should say nice things.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll do my best. It's hard for me to say nice things about you, but I'll figure out a way.
Thanks.
I'll figure out a way. All right. Markets are moving. People are not believing in this rally, and that is consistent with the early stages of major rallies. So nobody should be surprised by that. So shout out to those who are fighting trends. Life must be very difficult for you, but those of us who don't do that type of thing, we appreciate you, right? We appreciate you. Somebody has to be on the other side of our trades. Might as well be you. And I'm not saying you guys watching, because you guys watching are the smart money. It's the yous, two Utes, you know. All right, markets are moving. Izzy, hit it, baby. Let's go. State of the market. All right, we got the Dow futures this morning doing absolutely nothing at all. 42,570 for the Dow. Flat this morning. S&P's also flat at 60.42. We got NASDAQ 100 futures up a smidge, 30 handles to the upside, just under 22,000 for the NASDAQ 100 futures. 30-year bond futures up again, Mr. Steve Strazza, up another 1/3%, back above 114 for the 30-year bonds. Crude oil up again, 0.5%, 73.5. Copper also up 2/3%, 484. Gold flat this morning at 3,400. Silver down 1/3%, 37 even, with the VIX still above 21. VIX still above 21. Very, very interesting. Over in funny money land, we got Bitcoin flat this morning, 104,500, 104,500. Ethereum down 0.5%, just below 2,500 for the ETH. We got Solana 146 down 1% and change, with the total crypto market cap. Spencer Israel, if you're out there listening, 3.2 trillion, 3.2 trillion for the old total crypto market cap. What stands out from this morning's futures, Strazza?
Yeah, I'll tell you. We spoke briefly about the home builders yesterday because we had the Lennar report, and they came out and it was fine. But home builders, just as a group right now, I don't know, JC. It seems a little bit different than usual. Every single morning I come in and there's another nasty or negative headline about housing. Like even again this morning, the housing starts miss, building permits miss. Yesterday at like 10 o'clock, something came out about home builder sentiment or housing sentiment, the worst since the pandemic. Everything's the worst since the pandemic again for this group. Home builders peaked and rolled right over. Lennar was up a couple percent, looked great, right? This was the earnings reaction day, looked great. And then you got this giant red candle. And the more I think about home builders, I'm thinking it can't be a top. But the more I'm looking at these charts and watching this price action, they really look like tops. And it's just, I think it would be really, really strange. So I don't know if this is some sort of like black swan bear signal that the home builders are rolling over like this, but this looks like a top. Throw up the chart. I'm comparing them with semiconductors for the simple reason that these are two highly cyclical groups, right? These are economy stocks, if you will, risk on offensive stocks. And in my opinion, they might be the two most important groups or most informative groups that we have to build like our inner market puzzle out. And to see them move in opposite directions and literally do the complete opposite, the lower bounds of this pattern. You got semis going higher, look like they're completing a V out here. I mean, look at tech. XLK is completing a V. Why wouldn't SMH? And then home builders, like I said, every passing day, this looks more and more like a completed distribution pattern. So funky, in my opinion.
You know, I don't think you're going to get many people out there comparing semis and homies, but I like what you did here. Two very cyclical areas, very sensitive to the economy and markets and whatnot, right? So it makes sense.
I don't know why one line would be going down for this long while the other one is going up for this long.
But they are they
strange. Not? I think there's this gets cleaned up, okay, is the point I'm trying to make. This gets cleaned up. And there's a chance that it could clean itself up with semiconductors rolling back over. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
I would agree with that.
And say, oh, the home builders tipped us off. No?
But what are the implications of homies recovering?
Well, let's go, right? Like the catalysts this week now, they're burning and losing. The upside catalyst, the Lennar earnings report, they don't have any more earnings reports for a while from the big guys. So
either semis are going to catch down or homies are going to catch up but the bet is not that this divergence is going to persist. That's a tough bet to be making,
Well,
right?
maybe we start with every morning. There's not like negative headlines about housing. Like Redfin, shut up. Redfin survey this morning: one in three baby boomers says they're never going to sell their home. What does that even? Who cares? Why is that news? Why leave the housing stuff alone? I don't know
Well,
why they're
their
not
job is
making
to make noise about housing, so I'm pretty sure they're not going to leave it alone.
never sell their home. We'll see.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess we'll
kidding.
see. Can we go to slide 2? This is really interesting. This one comes from the Bank of America Global Fund Manager Survey. Gives us some ideas to what institutional portfolio managers are doing here. Throw that up there in slide 2. There we go.
Oh,
So these, the question was to the global
oh
fund
God,
managers, what are the best performing assets over the next 5 years?
dude.
Best performing assets over the next 5 years. Steve Strazza, 54% of them said that it's going to be international stocks.
Oh
Wow, that's a
man,
lot. How
dude.
about
Who,
bonds? Only
who
5% think it's going to be bonds, government or corporates. Uh, what do you think about buying bonds and fading that international outperformance right about here, huh?
Yeah, so there's two interesting things here. The huge gap between how they like stocks in general and how they like bonds in general. And then the other interesting thing that stands out here is just the massive gap between international and US. This, JC, is a very new thing. Who are they surveying? Do you have any idea? Like who's answering these? These are professionals. This got to be
These
professionals.
are their prime clients.
Phew,
These
man,
are the
I,
customers they prime
I'm
for.
I'm almost positive that those 54% of people are going to be wrong after seeing this.
Yeah, what about the 5% on the bond side? Everybody just assumes interest rates are gonna rip
Well,
higher and we're in a secular rise in rates. Everybody just assumes that, don't they?
yeah, well, also, JC, we're coming off a really, really good, economic boom period, really like solid bull market. You could even say a prolonged bull market, depending on how much longer it goes on. So that just means the bear market's probably coming, and God forbid bonds outperform for a little bit, over the course of the next few years. That wouldn't be crazy. So, um, interesting survey though. And then you think too, in the context of the dollar positioning right now. So everybody's loading the boat on big international hype, while commercials are like super long dollars. Do I have that right?
Commercials are now long dollars, speculators are selling dollars, the exact opposite of what it was 6 months ago.
There's extremes there in
Yep,
positioning, I guess is
yep.
my point. While everybody's saying, oh, it's all international. I don't know. A strong dollar that rockets higher from here really puts a damper on that thesis, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does, my friend.
Yeah.
And also don't forget that technology just closed at the highest levels ever. So there's that.
Hmm.
Can we talk about angry liberals? Let's throw up the angry liberals chart there.
Really angry lately.
Really angry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, JC, I got something for you. So you've done a great job coming on here talking about Disney and Disney's wokeness. And really, I never have much to add to that conversation because what the hell do I know, right? Last time I was at a Disney park, my friend was with you. Um, and I don't think I'm going anytime soon either. It's not like I'm sitting here watching the movies, but we did somehow stumble upon this Mustafa movie last night.
It's
And
Mufasa, not Mustafa.
anyway, why are the Lions British?
No, the Lions are not British. Just Tucker is British.
They all sound like they're from London. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
sound
Tucker. That's
they don't
Tucker.
sound like Simba and Mustafa used to sound.
Yeah, because they're from different parts of like of the Sahara or the Serengeti or whatever.
They all have new voices. It really threw me off. Anyway, carry on.
I mean, the monkey. I mean, listen, we can go down this rabbit hole. Like, how does in Little Mermaid, how does the crab have a Caribbean accent when they're out in Russia, right? Like that doesn't make any sense, right? Um, we could go down that rabbit hole if you really want,
It
or
was
just
just
remember that it's a cartoon. They just
okay.
need accents.
Mm,
Anyway, talk about angry liberals. Let's talk about the widest dispersion amongst what uh, Democrats and Republicans expect for the stock market over the next 6 months. Liberals, very, very angry, are not looking for higher stocks. Republicans on the other side, very, very happy, these Republicans. Who's wrong? Are the Republicans too giddy? Are the Democrats too angry? Or is this just a great example of humans are just too mentally weak to overcome their political biases?
This is pure politics, man. And it's I complain about this all the time. It's really sad to like root for bad things if your guy didn't win. Like what is wrong with people? I
Yeah.
can't. I just can't. Stuff like
So,
this. It makes me sad.
Brian
It
Harris,
makes me think
libs are
there's
losing their
just no
minds
hope.
out here. Yes, they
Huh?
definitely are very angry, these liberals. And so, are you betting that the liberals are wrong and they're too angry, or are the Republicans too giddy? You think because they got their guy, MAGA this and Trumpers that? Like, what do you think?
They're both wrong. The Republicans are too much, and the Democrats, like, give me a break, dude. What was the inflation one, JC?
Yeah,
One party had 10%, the other party was thinking 1%.
that's
Both
right.
options, both outcomes are fucking terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what are
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys
Right.
rooting
So in
for
the
out here?
inflation expectations, liberals, again, very angry, expecting historic inflationary levels. Republicans, probably way too giddy, expecting no inflation at all. Right. And then here, in terms of the stock market, again, liberals very angry, and Republicans probably a little too giddy. Right.
This is where we're at right now, JC. You got one party rooting for hyperinflation, 60% of them think stocks are going up, and another party rooting for stagflation, and none of them think stocks are going up. I mean, it's just awesome. It's
It
funny.
is awesome. And for those of you who like think that like market returns are, random, they are not. Those of you who think markets are efficient, they are not. Humans are crazy. I was on the phone with some guys the other day that are writing an article about me or whatever, and they're trying to they're trying to learn more about me, and they're like, "But JC, why does this happen?" And my answer was, "Humans are fucking crazy." And they're like, "Well, JC, we can't write that." I'm like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. They are. And we're here to profit from their craziness. And,
So
it's not a political thing. Strazza and I, as angry as the liberals are, Strazza and I are reiterating that the Republicans are probably too giddy. So they're both crazy. It's not,
yeah,
right, we're not picking on anybody. It works both ways. And for the record, if you go back a couple of years when what's the guy Weekend at Bernie's? What's his name? What's his name?
what
Biden.
about it?
When Biden was president, the Republicans were like super bearish. They're thinking inflation's going to go through the roof, and it was the liberals who were too giddy and thinking everything's great. And now it's the opposite because they don't have their guy. Like it's wild. It's wild.
Did I find myself saying nothing about these things more and more? So I slipped up the other day. I opened my big mouth. Listen to this. I'm at a local business enterprise talking to a kind woman behind the counter. And we're just chatting about stuff, and there's protests going on. And silly me, instead of just nodding my head like I normally do, oh, that's cool. What are they protesting about? I don't give a shit. I said, imagine spending your day off that way. You got a day off from work and you're gonna go yell in the park and wave signs around. I said something like that. And she said, oh, I'm going. I said, oh fuck. She said, I'll be there.
Strazza,
I said, oh,
I'll
that's
take.
cool. That's pretty cool. That's neat. That's something to do on a Saturday. Maybe I'll join you.
I'm going to take the other side of you. I think that protests is very, very important in this country. I think the First Amendment is very, very important in this country, and I
Nobody's
think
disagreeing.
people have the right to protest, and if they
For
want
sure.
to protest, they should. Now, with that being said, I think
I ain't
that they
going.
should protest peacefully, and if they're breaking laws, then they should go to prison. And if they're causing destruction in cities, they should go to prison or get deported. Right. So again, it's two different things. The First Amendment is very, very important. People have the right to protest, and if that's how they want to spend their days, you are no one to judge. And you can go play golf or go on the boat or go eat too many croquetas or whatever it is that you do, and they
Yeah.
are welcome to protest as long as it's peacefully. I
Yep.
don't have a problem with that. It's when they start breaking things and breaking the law that's the problem, and those idiots should go to prison or get deported. I like when they
If
wave
they're
the flag so that we know what country to send them back to. I like that.
I think that if they were protesting in your backyard, you might feel differently.
Well, if they're in
Well,
in your backyard, then they are
listen,
breaking the law and they should go to prison.
you know what I mean.
I don't know what if they're
I'm really
breaking
not
the law. Then
interested
if
in
they're
it.
in your backyard, they're breaking the laws, trespassing. They should go to prison.
I see the videos on the news. It looks to me like a high risk activity and something that I want nothing to do with.
Well, understand something. Not all protests are illegal, and not all protesters are breaking the law. So, like, you can't just group them all together. The idiots
I
waving
didn't
their
say they were.
flag and burning shit down, they should go to prison or go get deported. But if you in this country, the First Amendment gives you the right to protest. I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, I have a problem with the people who have a problem with that. How about that? How about
It's
them
not for me.
apples?
It's not for me. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out First Amendment. Just want to give a shout out to the First Amendment.
But
It's my
anyway,
favorite.
done
It's my
talking
favorite.
about politics when I walk out of my house. I don't even talk about them inside my house.
That's probably smart. That's probably smart. Yeah, Strazza is the old man. Kids, stay off my lawn. All right, we got Kenny Glick coming in the house. Steve Strazza, if the dollar rallies from here with bonds, that's going to put pressure on precious metals, isn't it?
If the dollar rallies with bonds, it's going to put pressure on a lot of things.
Like what?
Bill says the market does better under Dems historically.
Fake news. Fake news.
Not quite.
What the market likes the most is Democratic president with Republican Congress. If you really want to go there.
Like, you could pick it all apart, right, and do all these different studies. Oh, well, when there's a split Congress and this guy there, and then he's an incumbent. Yep. Yeah, there's a million different ways to look at it, and really, the takeaway is doesn't matter that much. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, no, Strazza's right. The takeaway is that it doesn't
Other
matter that
things
much.
matter far more.
There's way more important things. But if you really want the data, the answer is technically, it's definitely Republicans in Congress. That by far and away is the most. It is way more important than who the president is. Republican Congress is what the stock market likes the most. As far as the president,
Democrat president, Republican Congress.
yeah, barely.
Okay.
Republican Congress is what the market likes the most. Slightly advantage to a Democrat president over a Republican president, but the stock market loves Republican president, Republican Congress. Again, it's not who the president is; it's more so the Congress.
And
so
honestly,
you guys really want to know the data? That's the data.
And it's not even a big data set, by the way. So it's still a small sample size, by the way. Just saying.
Yep. No,
and
that's exactly right. Small sample size. Small sample size.
I think it's dumb. All right, bring Kenny on. I'm going to restart my computer.
Is Kenny here? Do we have Kenny in the house? Kenny,
I don't know. Oh no.
Kenny not here yet, but you are welcome to go ahead and restart. I want to talk about something. I got something here. So here we are looking at the hedging that is taking place. If you want to throw up the new slide too. This is the price of hedging the NASDAQ 100 over the next month. And the cost of hedging is off the charts, right? So you've got ETF outflows, right? So equity ETFs, money is flowing out of them. You've got Goldman Sachs coming out saying retail investors have been dumping stocks very aggressively over the last month. And now the cost of hedging is the highest it's been in, the last several months. So, what I'm seeing is that investors are fading this strength, right? They are betting that this is a dead cat bounce and not the earlier stages of something larger. Again, you're seeing it in retail investors. You're seeing it in ETF outflows. You're seeing it in the cost of hedging being very, very expensive as so many people are trying to hedge their positions. To me, that suggests that investors are not buying into this rally, which in my experience would suggest that this rally most likely has legs. How do you feel about that?
I think it's cute.
Really? You think it's cute?
Look at everything else. Europe didn't go failed breaky. Nothing else is going failed breaky. You get some false starts and some chop up here to bet on 10% downside coming off of basically new all-time highs for the Qs. I don't know. Go for it. I don't know. That's not for me.
What I'm saying is that investors are not buying into this rally. They're fading it, is what I'm saying. You don't think that's
a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing for sure. No, I like it. Look, sentiment, I don't know where sentiment's at right now. I'm so confused by sentiment, all these polls. I think sentiment has been pretty crap data for frankly all year. We've talked about it.
I don't think so. I think
It's
sentiment
hard for me.
absolutely
I don't
nailed.
ever
I
read
think
on it.
sentiment absolutely nailed the positioning in the dollar coming into the year, and that caused havoc all over the world. It's spot on. What are you
How can
talking
people
about?
be bearish right now?
How can people be bearish?
How can people like what's there to be bearish about? Everything's
Well,
great.
first of all, they don't have your account, right? So you're happy and giddy because you're making all this money.
I lost
Other
some money
people
yesterday.
not so much, right?
Yeah.
Like you live in this bubble, like on a golf course, from Greenwich, Connecticut, this guy over here who lives in Key West. Like you live in this little bubble, but other people who don't have your perspective and experience, and quite frankly, they don't get to talk to me every day like you do. So, lucky you. Some people just don't have those experiences. That's all.
Heating oil has literally gone vertical. You see this.
I see
So
it.
what are inflation expectations doing? What's taking so long for them
Uh,
to catch up? Isn't
the,
that
the
strange?
liberals, the liberals think inflation's going to go through the roof. Keep that in mind. All right, bring on Kenny. Let's go.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Kenny Glick in the house.
Call me Bubble Boy. I live in a bubble. Yes.
You kind of do also live in a bubble. You have first world bubble that you live in. Day trading, sitting in cash at the end of the day. Life must be good. Life must be good, Kenny.
And the bubble of VWAP. Yeah, it's the only truth left for me. And I was just explaining this this morning. When you're a day trader, the opportunities in this market is just ridiculous. And if you're just trying to make a day's pay, that's our motto. There's so much to do. Like this stock guy talking about SRAD. Again, it's a measly 12% winner for the last month and a half since we bought it, which is ridiculous in this market. If your stock's not up 50%, you're a loser. But it's a nice casual stock where it has one up day, one down day, one up day, one down day. But you know that. So when it's red in the morning, you know it's being accumulated. So why not just buy some and then it goes up 50 cents and you make your day's pay. It's boring, but it works almost every day. And it's a great stock. And so far, so good with SRAD. It's one of the only stocks I own. So, but it's just one of those moments where it's just like, you know what? There's so much going on. But if you just stay focused on some of your just these boring names, they're working too. So yeah, I don't see why there's reasons to be bearish, but yesterday we saw some reasons, and I call it just the buyers kind of like took a break. There's nobody selling. There's no shorters are all being destroyed since the power gap on May 11th. But if I think the market might kind of drift downward today because of the day off tomorrow, and maybe people are starting to take a 5-day weekend. That's what I'm thinking. So we might see a buyers like kind of just chilling out, and we might drift again to the downside. I'm curious. I don't want to frighten anybody that the market may actually go down 2 days in a row. I know, sick times, but we might be down today.
Kenny, what's on the move this morning?
I'm just looking at the solars again. We picked them off the trash heap yesterday. I want to see if there's any follow through. Some of that other drug stock, SRPT, and Strazza's little toy that he gave me the other day, SRM. I caught the buy on that 3 times yesterday. So SRM, there's still some buyers on the way down. So if it holds yesterday's lows, I'm curious to see what this one does again. And of course, you want the crazy biotech for the day? It's APVO for you maniacs out there. But it already had its monster move. I'm looking for if it can break back over 750, take a look. But seriously, people, I don't want to frighten you. We might be down 2 days in a row. I know, crazy times. Call who you need to call. Mark yourself safe. And if I don't speak to you, I'll see you guys on Friday.
Just like that. Just like that.
Just
Glick's
like
picks. Ladies and gentlemen, hit thebid.com. One Kenny Glick. Trade the stocks that are moving the most every single day. Hit thebid.com. Thank you so much, Kenny.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy your Juneteenth.
Anybody around on Sunday, I'll be at the Asbury Stone Pony getting stoned with Slightly Stupid. If you guys like fusion reggae bands, I'll
And
see
where
you.
is this? Asbury Park?
Asbury Park outside, yeah. I'm so
Sunday?
old. I am my father now. So my father used to take me to concerts, but we wouldn't go into the concert. We'd stay in like the park across the street from the concert and just hear the music. That's what I do now. So at Stone Pony, there's a nice grassy area where everybody just brings like lawn chairs and 6-packs, and we just hang out on the grass or on the beach. It's actually a lot better than paying the $150.
I'm down in Avalon. I might drive up and meet you.
Yeah, let me know. Text me on Sunday. I'll be there all night.
All right, guys. Adios. All right, Kenny Glick, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, he's trading the things that are moving the most. I mean, that if you're trying to get the best bang for your buck on a given day, you want to trade the ones that are moving the most, and it's both long and short. He tends to be very counter trend in nature, so love that. All right, guys, we've got Justin Spittler in the house. Justin Spittler, he is the chief trader at RiskHedge. What do you say, Izzy? Bring him out. Bring him out.
Yo,
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
There he is. What's up, Jay? How are you?
What's going on? How you been?
Everything. I love. I take a look at the charts that you sent in, and you're starting right with energy. I'm being told that technicians can't buy energy if you're a real technician, because according to these clowns, all technicians have to be like these long-term trend followers or whatever. And underperformance in energy means that technicians should not be buying them. That kind of gets me chuckling a bit. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, so I think energy is interesting for a few reasons. And if you look at the charts I sent, I kind of cover a few different areas. So we got solar and uranium, which we'll touch on a bit. But I think starting with oil makes the most sense just because of everything that's happened in the Middle East and the move it had last week. And I know you guys were early to this and pointing out that potential deviation or I call it just a false bottom. I was watching that as well. It looked like a big distribution pattern in oil, and then we had a little follow through, but it just couldn't get back on track. And now you're starting to see some continuation off last week's move. So I think it's super interesting. And if who knows exactly how this situation in the Middle East is going to play out, but I personally think even if we get some sort of resolution, I think kind of the uncertainty of the situation will kind of hang over, and just from a technical perspective, I think oil's setting up really nicely. And so, based on what happened last week, I hadn't been paying a ton of attention to at least oil and gas names until recently. I was more interested in uranium specifically, which has been doing great. But then, once I saw, everything that was playing out last week, I, pulled up the XLE chart. And I think if you're going to play energy, I don't think XLE is the way to go. If you look, I didn't include the XLE chart. I actually forgot to send it over, but it's just kind of a sideways mess. But if you kind of drill down into, just the sector and look for some leaders, there's a ton of individual names that I think are setting up. So if this is the early stages of, potential rotation into energy stocks, I think you just naturally gravitate towards the leaders, and those names are all trading either at 52-week highs or in some cases all-time highs, and they're showing a ton of relative strength versus XLE. So I threw in a few charts that we could potentially look at. So we got I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Well, here's that XLE chart. You may not have had it handy, but I have it handy, as you might imagine. And this thing hasn't done a damn thing since the great financial crisis, which is crazy, because as energy was putting in that top in the summer of 2008, I remember where I was standing. I remember who I was with. I remember where I was. And I mean, shit, 17 years later, we're still in the same place. Wow. That's wild, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, if it can get going, then there's obviously a ton of upside, and then maybe we get the commodity super cycle that everyone's been predicting.
You think everybody is predicting those things?
Not exactly. But I have, corners of the market, corners of FinTwit have been calling for a commodity super cycle for a long time. I used to work for Casey Research, and our focus was commodities and stuff. So that was several years ago, and people were calling for it then, and it hasn't happened yet, but yeah, potentially that could be the next big trade over the next few years.
Why, Justin, what is the biggest reason why when you woke up this morning or maybe last night or this weekend when you're like, oh, I'm going to be on the morning show, what charts should I bring? What is the biggest reason why you decided to bring so many energy charts?
I think there's just a lot of different ways to look at it, and I kind of wanted to tell a little bit of a story when I came on here instead of just showing random charts of various growth stocks. But I just think it's pretty interesting to look at it different ways. So if you want to pull up the chart of URA and just look at what's been happening there, this is a trend that I've gotten involved with Cameco and Centrus. I think it's a $2 billion uranium company, and it's just been an absolute monster. And it just looks this trend looks like it has major legs because it's just starting to break out of that, which was essentially a consolidation period with a lot of volume pouring into URA. And what I think's interesting about this is, again, a lot of people have predicted that uranium would get going, and it just never seemed like the right time, but now it seems like the stars are aligning. I think that the big difference kind of from a fundamental perspective is that instead of governments really pushing for this, you're starting to see a lot of the Mag 7 names that are becoming advocates and proponents of nuclear power. And these people, these companies have so much sway. So I think that's kind of what's been a big reason we've seen the sentiment change, is that they have all this demand for energy due to AI, and so they're looking at uranium as a way to solve that problem. So I think it's pretty interesting. And then even last year, at the end of last year, you started to see those modular nuclear reactor stocks doing well. And I thought that might have just been retail getting excited about these thematic names, because a lot of the modular reactor names don't have. Some of them don't have sales. I don't think any of them have earnings. So I thought it was just kind of a little speculative move. But you're starting to see way more confirmation of this nuclear trade working, because you're seeing it with uranium. You're seeing it with what I call the AI power plays, like your GVs, CGs, NRG, Talon, TLN. Those utilities have exposure to nuclear, and then obviously you're starting to see it with uranium too. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then kind of the last chapter or way to talk about energy that I think is interesting is, so I'm sure you guys saw yesterday all the solar stocks got absolutely slammed.
Yeah.
And Sedge was down like 33%, Enphase was down like more than 20%. But what I thought was interesting was, if you look at Next Tracker, I included that chart. That name was only down like 1.6%, and that for a solar stock, that looks way different than all other solar stocks. So
it really does, though.
If the solar stocks can, kind of take this news about the tax credits in stride, maybe it was just a one day thing. We don't see those charts completely fall apart, and they continue to bottom out. I think this is the clear leader. I don't even think it's worth looking at any other solar stock just yet. Just wait for more participation to get going. But if you like to be early to trends, this is easily the best looking name within solar, in my opinion. I actually don't think it's an opinion. I think it's objective.
And one can argue that these solar stocks are semiconductors at the end of the day, right? Or like a variation of, right? Just because of the way, just of what they are, like physically.
Yeah,
exactly. Think there's any relationship there? I saw you brought that semis on a relative basis chart. If you guys want to throw that up, you think there's any relationship there in the price?
I don't know. I think you make a good point. I don't think solar stocks are going to move with XLE, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think of them, somewhere in between, tech stocks and energy stocks, because they're very much, there's a lot of it's policy driven, as we saw yesterday. But I'm not quite sure if the breakout we've seen on a relative basis with semis versus SPY is what's driving or causing a lot of these solar stocks to wake up. But I included this chart just because I think you see it on FinTwit. Like every time we have a nice rally, everyone's so quick to call the top and just say it's over. It's kind of insane. But the fact that semis are breaking out on a relative basis, I think suggests that this move has legs. They were underperformers basically since last summer and didn't wake up until a few months ago. So I think this is really a good area to be focused on. And if you look at the majors of within the group, I think only Broadcom and KLAC have broken out to all-time highs, and so those look like your leaders. And I think if you could find a way into those kind of names, I think we're still earlier enough in the trend where it makes sense to do that. And then another name that I included is a smaller name. I kind of like to find these gems, and that's Credo. And they reported earnings recently and had really explosive growth and good earnings. And as you can see here, it's almost close to getting back to those all-time highs. So yeah, I think when you're in the early stages of a rotation, I think you just naturally gravitate towards the strongest names and try and find a way to get into the names that have been leading instead of playing laggards. I think you can try that from a tactical perspective towards the end of trends. But I think at this stage for semis, I think you just go to the leaders.
Yeah, there's a big disparity between the big ones, the big leaders, and the laggards. More than in other industry groups, I feel like the difference between the winners and the losers in semiconductors really stands out, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I remember, so what was it? Early 2023, I saw like one of my just probably biggest mistakes of at least early in that cycle was not just going super heavy into NVIDIA, because I was trying to play kind of catch ups and thinking, NVIDIA is showing all this strength, but NVIDIA is so big. Why don't I, move down the cap scale and try and find something smaller to find some beta? But that was definitely not the move. It was just, keep it simple and focus on the leader, even if it's, a big company like NVIDIA then, or, right now, I think, Broadcom's big, but I still think that's probably going to be an outperformer for semis going forward.
I wanted to come back to this Antero, the AR, that chart. I mean, making new highs relative to XLE. Can you throw up that AR? That thing, man. It's a great chart.
Yeah. It's like starting to climb out of that multi-month base. But if you zoom out on it, I don't have the so that's like a 2-year chart. I think if you zoom out on it, it's also on the verge of breaking out of a 3-year base. So it looks really good on all time frames, and I just think if you want to play energy, you might as well get involved with the energy names that have been working when oil wasn't strong, before oil had that big move, because these are the names that can have just proven to be more resilient and show that they can work in different environments. So it's not completely dependent on what crude might do, or completely dependent on the Middle East, causing oil to spike further.
Yeah, you see the relative strength in AR compared to its peers. When you look at the explorers and producers index, it just doesn't look anywhere as good as AR. So when you talk about, excuse me, when you talk about owning the leadership groups, AR is definitely a standout for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Justin, this was great. I do have a question. You mentioned FinTwit earlier, and I was talking to some people over the last week about what a terrible word twit is. Twit, it's just a shitty word. I mean, it's the definition of a twit is a silly, annoying person or a fool. I don't know anybody who wants to be referred to as a twit.
You like X better?
Like, why would we call ourselves twits? That's stupid. So I think there needs to be a better word for FinTwit. So I put it on Chat GPT, and Chat GPT said, "You're totally right." So the AI robot agrees with me. You're totally right. And I quote, "Twit doesn't exactly scream credibility, especially in finance. Let's upgrade it ChatGPT suggested we call it FinX, which I also don't really like.
Nah, I don't like it either. No, I'll have to rebrand it again.
But twit is just a bad word. So FinTwit, it's just not for me. I mean, we've always called it that. I guess I didn't realize what a shitty word twit is. So we need a better name. Anybody in the chat wants to chime in? What do we call this amazing community, which is, you know, financial traders, investors on Twitter? I've been here since like 08. So, I mean, we're going on 17 years now. You know, what do we call this? We need a name. We need a new name. So anybody want to chime in, you know, feel free.
It didn't bother you until now?
No, not really. I didn't realize.
I've never really thought about it.
Yeah, that's also true. I hadn't really thought about it, but I also didn't know what the definition of a twit was. I didn't realize how bad, you know, I don't want to be considered a fool. I don't want to call other people fools, right?
Kind of sounds like twink, which isn't very good either.
No, we need a new word. Justin, that's your homework, buddy. When you're not looking at charts, this is what I want you thinking about, all right?
All right, sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justin Spittler. Justin is the chief trader at RiskHedge. Check out Justin on FinTwit. On FinTwit, we'll go with that on Twitter. Follow Justin. All his information is in the show notes. Justin, thank you for being here, my man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Man, coming in hot with those energy charts, huh? Coming in hot.
It's called FinTwit. You can't just change the name. That's what it is.
I know, but twit is just such a bad, like, it's just not a good word.
It's not up to you. That's what people call it.
That is also true. It's not up to me. But as an active member of the community and dare I say an OG in the space, I am free to opine on the situation.
Apparently, home builders are down because interest rates are high.
You're out here hating on the First Amendment. So why are you beefing with me about hating on a stupid name for something?
I just said I think protesting is a waste of time, and I don't want to do it.
Well, you don't have to do it, but Americans in this beautiful country that is the great U.S. of A. I know you're a Florida man, so it's kind of like not even like America. But for the rest of us, you know, we appreciate the First Amendment.
You can do it.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do it, to be fair.
I know you're not.
I'm probably not going to do it.
You're hilarious.
I don't have time to be protesting.
I think that your take is so funny.
Why is it funny that I appreciate the First Amendment?
You're the last person who would show up at one of these protests.
That's not the point.
It kind of is.
The point. Not the point. You're not wrong. I got too many kids, bro. I'm not going out. I'm protesting things. I'm more interested in figuring out what people are protesting about so I can figure out how to make money off of it. That's also a great American way, you know? Also a great American way.
Something about kings.
All right. What stood out the most from Justin?
Dude, you know, he's onto a lot of the same hot stock charts as the rest of us. There's just a lot going on. More and more stuff's working. He's a big pattern guy, big uptrend guy, big relative strength guy. So he's always looking at good stocks. AR looks great. Fresh breakout. You want to buy the leaders in energy, or do you want to buy the ones that look like Devon? DVN. I think you buy both, right? This goes back to that conversation that we always have. Buy some of the good ones, breaking out of the upper bounds. Buy some of the ugly ones, scooping and scoring at the lower bounds. I'm in rig. I don't give a shit.
I want to give a couple of shout outs. I want to give a shout out to the homies over at FinChat. Just changed their name to Fiscal.ai. Fiscal.ai is the new name for FinChat. They just raised $10 million. So shout out to the homies out there. Also want to give a shout out, speaking of Florida men, Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions. Not that Cubans know anything about hockey, but my understanding is that the Florida team is champions back to back.
Again, I think this is a unique moment in sports history. I don't think you can ever really expect this to happen again. Why is South Florida so good at hockey? I don't think anyone really understands it. But they're out here whooping Canada's ass every year. It is strange. Like baseball, sure. Football all day. Hockey?
Well,
in Miami?
To be fair, Strazza, none of those guys on that hockey team are from Miami.
No shit. But still. What's going on? They're really
They are
good.
not. None
I
of them.
watch.
I don't know for sure, but I would venture to say more than half of that team is from Canada. Is that you think that's accurate?
I don't have ping irons. Um, they're probably mostly Canadians, right? Are most hockey players Canadians or Americans? All their
Uh,
names are really weird.
yeah, definitely Canadians. Definitely Canadians. All right, guys. Listen, I gotta hop. I got work to do. Appreciate you guys. Adios.
Hmm. All right. We can look at a couple charts here. I'll check my news feed. We'll see what's going on. I don't think anybody's joining the show today. Just kind of winging it without Spencer lately. So that was good. Why don't you throw up the slide deck, Fonz? Do we have any charts I could talk about? Pull up my trade exchange. See what's really moving these markets today. Fed Day, that's exciting. So I think we'll be on this afternoon covering the Fed decision live. I think Jason's going to join me. That will be just lovely. Yeah, let's talk about nat gas. So crude oil scooped and scored. I don't know what heating oil is for, to answer the question in the chat. No idea. But the heating oil chart looks incredible out here. I think gasoline probably follows. And look, you don't want to think of natural gas in the same basket necessarily as the other three, crude and the derivatives. However, it's still energy. Okay. And with the price action, not just in energy futures, but look at the metals too. Look at particularly the precious metals doing really well out here. Agriculture, my friends are texting me about soybeans again. That's new, right? And it's not just silver and gold, by the way. Platinum, palladium working really well out here too. I just think it's a logical, next step to think, okay, well, why doesn't nat gas start working too? So nat gas is coming out of this really nice base. You have the VWAP from the 2022 highs coming in right here. If you drop another VWAP from the pivot highs from earlier this year, you get a nice little pinch situation, right? It's drawing a coil for you at the upper bounds of this base, those two VWAPs. I think this is popping right now, little continuation pattern at the upper bounds of this base, and Natty keeps on climbing up the right-hand side of this base, right? And we're talking about nat gas, I don't know, high single digits in the future. Really think that's where things are going. I think the way the commodities are waking up and that participation continues to expand in this space is really encouraging, more than constructive. It's downright bullish what's going on in the commodities markets right now. Quick for our favorite name. We talk about this one all the time, cover it in a number of our different products. This is CRK. This is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, I guess, big oil and gas investor. That's how he made his money, right? This is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. But he has been buying CRK hand over fist, by far the largest shareholder. I think he owns a controlling share of the company. And it just came out of this massive multi-year base, coiled up right above the breakout level, just above those 2022 highs, right? In this super high and tight bull flag. And now it's going. So who knows how high this one goes? This is a monster base. When you zoom out even further on the chart, you see why it could keep on climbing back to its highs from decades ago. And I think this is going to be a multi-bagger. So CRK, we're very long. We're in the calls too for breakout multiplier. But I think this is really best in breed in the nat gas space. I mean, shout out things like Cheniere too, LNG, of course, long-term leader there. KMI will give you some exposure plus a nice dividend yield. So there are some options. You do have some options to express a bullish thesis on natural gas. That's really all I got for today, guys. Fast market out here. I'm going to go, trade the open, see what's kind of going on. We got some big positions on we probably need to manage our way out of. I never really like it when we have to take a day off middle of the week. What I will say though is these crypto positions, and if you're in some crypto calls, which we are, I'm thinking about those differently, right? Because equity markets, there's really going to be no news tomorrow for U.S. equities. Maybe you get some sort of geopolitics, and that can move around risk asset markets, of course, right? But just broadly speaking, there's no earnings, there's nothing going on for U.S. equities. However, stocks like Coinbase and these other cryptos, if you are in some calls that maybe expire Friday, you really are going to have that price action from Thursday priced in come Friday morning, and then Friday morning session or Friday session on top of it. So I think that's something interesting that's going on here this week. So I'm looking a little bit extra close at some of these short-term vehicles that we're in or short-term instruments that we're in the crypto space, because I don't think it matters that the U.S. equity markets close tomorrow. I think a stock like Coinbase, if crypto's rip tomorrow, is going to come in up 10% pre-market Friday, and then you're going to have Friday session on top of it. That's just something I'm thinking about here today. All right, so join us later for our FOMC live stream event. I think it's 2:30, right? Check it out. We'll be here live, Jason and I. And then we will be back on Monday. No show tomorrow. Boat day. No show Friday. Day off. Monday. And Spencer will be back too. So the gang's all going to be back together come Monday. And then we'll be back to our regular schedule then. Also, breakout multiplier video for members. It's canceled tomorrow. It's going to be Friday. Same time. Friday at 11 instead. Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining. Happy Wednesday. And we'll see you next week. Adios.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it